Hey everybody, this is your boy Marcus Norman from Gentleman Style Podcast, your host to the number one podcast coming to you live in America. And today we have a little change of plans, but we're gonna keep it moving. We're gonna keep it rolling because you guys, my audience, deserve to continue to deliver content. So we had a little glip. We had to reschedule our supermodel, but she is coming back, y'all. She just has to recuperate and she recovered, and she'll be right back. But we have the incredible, amazing for round two. This is round two, Mr. Shawn Ackerman, and he is, like always, is delivering value and incredible knowledge. And so stay tuned, stay engaged, and stay with us. We'll be right back. Here we go. Hey everybody, this is your boy Marcus Norman from Gentleman Style Podcast, your host of the number one podcast coming to you live in America. And today we have the incredible Mr. Shawn Ackerman back for more. If you are just tuning into this podcast channel for the first time, I want to give you some background on Mr. Shawn. Mr. Shawn grew up in an underserved community in Crown's Heights section of Brooklyn, New York. He survived the 80s crack epidemic, in which gained him an intense desire to improve his life's trajectory while transitioning into adolescence and further into adulthood. Over the years, Mr. Shawn has learned some key life principles, some of which are trading time for money, as long as term nor sustainable path to building wealth. Passive income is this man's game, and he is an expert here on the field on Gentleman Style Podcast show to deliver value and educate us. And today we are going to be talking about wholesaling. I know wholesaling is a mystery to a lot of you, but we are going to touch on my favorite topic and the unique topic that a lot of real estate investors that are looking to get their feet wet in the business. And I recommend wholesaling, and we have the expert here today. So help me welcome to the stage, Mr. Shawn Ackerman. Yeah!
Let's go! What's up, brother?
What's going on? Welcome back to the show for round two. I appreciate you having us and appreciate you serving once again. This man is a public servant, y'all.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let's go! I'm excited, man. Thanks for the opportunity, King. Listen, man, what you're doing for the culture, for your audience, for people that look like you and I, and not just that, for everybody, right? It's a blessing, brother. It's truly a blessing. So it's an honor and pleasure to be back here on your stage, brother.
Absolutely. That's powerful. That's powerful. See how humble he is, y'all? Super humble. So, Mr. Shawn, tell us, on a 3,000-foot view, what is wholesaling?
Right. So wholesaling, when you're a wholesaler, you're a professional middleman, right? Essentially, you're getting in between a deal, right? So in any sort of real estate transaction, it's going to be the seller, then the buyer. All you're doing as the wholesaler is jumping right in between, right in the middle of that transaction, and making a fee for your contract, your negotiation with the seller.
Absolutely. So you're the middleman, and you're essentially the broker of that quality deal.
Absolutely.
So where is the money to be made? Because if I'm the middleman, and where do I make my money? How do I make my money?
Gotcha. So there's a couple different ways you can wholesale. Two different things that I use in my business is assignment contracts, right? So when I say you're in the middle of a transaction, essentially what you do is you're going to find a motivated seller, which can be from a tax foreclosure, tax delinquent, pre-foreclosure, whatever, right? Motivated, right? They have some level of distress. You're going to negotiate an agreement with that seller, lock it up. Your audience may hear the term lock it up. So essentially you put your John Hancock, the seller puts their John Hancock on a contract, and then you're assigning that contract for a fee. So that's how you make your money. I'll give you some numbers, right? Let's say you as the wholesaler negotiate an agreement with the seller for $100,000, right? And you know the property's worth maybe $200,000 or $250,000, right? You as the wholesaler, you have your agreement with the seller at 100. You can assign that contract for 110, 120, 130, and whatever the difference is above your negotiated price with the seller, it's going to be your fee. The professional middleman.
So no toilets.
No toilets. No
No
toilets.
tenants.
None of that. None of it.
No tenants. I'm not dealing with plumbing issues. None of that. I am just collecting a fee for bringing the deal to you, the investor. Is that?
That's it. That's it, King. And a lot of times what I say is wholesalers, we don't sell real estate, right? We sell paper, right? It's that simple. All you're doing is selling your contract that you negotiated with the seller to an end buyer or an investor, right? Essentially, that's all you're doing. You're never taking possession of the property. Now, as I mentioned earlier, there are two things that I do in my business, right? So assigning a contract for a fee is one way you can get paid. Sometimes in some states around the country, you may hear the term called double closing, right? So essentially, it's the same concept, right? You still have your seller, you still have your end buyer. The only difference with this strategy is you're actually purchasing the property, taking possession briefly, then reselling that property during the same day or next day, depending on what state you are. But essentially, it's the same logic. But in some states, due to regulations, they may require you to actually take possession and then sell it. But it's never long enough where you got to deal with a tenant or any toilets.
This sounds good to me. Hey, y'all. Thank you for tuning in to Gentleman Style Podcast Show. I want to give a big shout out to our VIP sponsor. If you notice in the comments below, Miss Erica Nicole Holmes. Wholesaling is her favorite topic. That's her favorite topic. So thank you, Miss Erica, for your contribution. We appreciate you. Thank you for your amazing sponsorship. So, Mr. Shawn, so it sounds like I'm making money on the spread of the deal. So that assignment fee could be essentially whatever it costs me, my time, my value on whether I deem is worth my time. So if it's $10,000, that's my assignment fee for collecting the deal and bringing it to you. So I want you to debunk a little myth here, because a lot of people say, man, it's impossible to wholesale in a recession. There's not a good economy right now. There's no good deals out there. Can you tell us, are there any good wholesaling deals left in a recession?
Yes.
The real estate market's crazy right now.
No, that is a myth, and I'm happy to debunk that, my brother. So I'll give an example. So I think when I was on your podcast last, I either was in the process of buying these two duplexes, or maybe I just closed on them. But essentially, on the first of March, I actually bought two duplexes for $80,000. Right? These were off market. This was a motivated seller, and I'm selling one on Friday, one for $65,000. Right? So essentially, let's look at the numbers: 2 for 80, 40, and 40. Right? Two properties. So I'm essentially making a $25,000 fee on one of those, and I'm getting the other one for $15K, which I'm probably going to keep in my portfolio.
Jeez, that's a huge spread, y'all. So here you have it, the man, the myth, not a legend. This man is making history, and that's a big spread. $25,000 cash, right? No loan, no debt, y'all. We are going to take one quick commercial break. We'll be right back. Stay tuned for Mr. Shawn Ackerman changing the game and talking to us about real estate flipping and showing us how to do this business right. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
I'm Marcus Norman, bringing fresh vibes to hot topics surrounding culture, relationships, business, finance, sex, dating, faith, and everything in between. Whether you're into passive income opportunities, trending topics and useful relationship tips, or dynamic guest speakers, there's something for everyone. You can expect all that and more every week. If you're down with this content, then consider joining our growing community by subscribing to Gentleman Style Podcast and smash the bell to get on our VIP list. Your support means the world. Thanks for watching. Link to my channel.
Hey everybody, this is Marcus from Gentleman Style Podcast, your host of the #1 podcast coming to you live in America. Hey y'all, so Mr. Shawn broke it down for us, and he just taught us the game on how he makes a spread from the differing price of the real estate deal and having an investor buy the deal from him, and all he is serving as the middleman. And that's huge, right? That's huge. And he did barely anything. He did any work. He didn't spend any money on toilets, tenants. He didn't do any rehab work. He didn't remodel. He didn't do anything except broker the deal. And he just debunked a very big myth, which in a recession, people think there are no deals left. And so he said that's absolutely not true. He just closed on 2 duplexes last week. And he is ripping and running and tearing this thing up. That's major. So, Mr. Shawn, so how what's the best way for someone to find investors? Because the magic in wholesaling is assigning the contract to an interested buyer. How do I go about finding someone to buy my deals?
Sure, that's an awesome question, because in wholesaling, there's really 2 sides of it, right? There's the acquisition side, which is getting the lead, and then there's the disposition side, right? So what we're talking about now is disposing of the asset, right? Or in this case, the contract. So this particular investor, believe it or not, actually came from Clubhouse. I don't know if any of your audience is on Clubhouse. About 3 weeks ago, I was moderating a stage on Clubhouse, and he came on. Hey, I'm looking to buy nationwide. If you guys got any deals, send them my way. And what did I do? Sent it his way, right? So that's not the traditional way. So I use a service called PropStream, right, where I find my motivated seller leads. And in PropStream, you can also find cash buyers, right? The trick is to skip trace, get the phone number attached to the person who bought properties, similar like properties to yours in that area for cash. And then all you do is get their phone number, their email, and send out a mass marketing blast, and then wait for all the buyers to come back to you.
Woo, that's simple. He makes it sound so simple, y'all. I'll be waiting for like the grind, the hustle, and this man is hustling. He's been doing this for over 20 plus years, and he just smooth with it, just rolls off the tongue.
Just 8 years, King. Just 8 years, King.
Oh, my bad. But I feel like the wisdom, the nuggets you're dropping are decades of experience in one. You're the complete package. You have a university. Tell us about that university.
Right. So thank you for that opportunity to speak on this. We actually just launched this on March 6th, and this is really an opportunity for me to engage with the people that follow me on Instagram, Facebook, Clubhouse, all the social media and stuff like that, where I'm sharing my experiences in the form of video content, right? Breaking down. So whether it's wholesaling, whether it's buying notes, originating notes, right? Buying and holding real estate, leveraging LLC for business credit, right? No matter what it is that I've learned along the way, I'm simply just pouring it back out into the people. And there's a free version of it, so not completely paid. You guys can tap in with that or tap in with the paid version. It's really about just adding value back to the people.
Absolutely. And so in this academy, this is probably like $1 million worth of information. How much is it? Was it 10,000? How much to get in this academy?
No, not even close, brother. It's $29.95 a month. It's a subscription-based program, right? And again, like I said, you get our access to our private Facebook group. We have a Zoom meeting once a month where you can kind of tap in, ask any sort of questions related to 1 to 4 unit residential, wholesaling, creating notes, starting a turnkey company, starting a wholesale business virtually, which is all the things that I do in my business. So we're able to interface on a one-to-one basis. So $29.95 a month, King.
That's insane. I can't believe it. $29.99. You said $29.99.
Close enough. $29.95.
That's incredibly affordable for the knowledge and the impact that you're making. That's huge, right? And so, in this academy, do you walk us through? Do you take us step by step from beginning to end of closing on that first real estate deal, whether it be the wholesaling, whether it be purchasing a property in foreclosure, or is it just kind of here the education, now go run?
Right. So the wholesaling, I pay particularly close attention to that because I know that's typically the entry point for a lot of investors. And a beautiful thing about wholesaling real estate, right? If you wholesale in a market where you actually intend to buy and hold or flip, you essentially become a self-sufficient, right? Which is what I teach in my online course, because you don't have to worry about going out and finding deals. The deals are going to all come through your pipeline. So essentially, I share every bit of experience that I've gained over these last 8 years, and I pour it back into the program. And it's in video format, and we meet on a monthly basis. And I'm giving every knowledge and experience that I have back to the people. Yep, in that course.
That's huge. That's huge. How do you incorporate your virtual? Because you have a virtual business. You are completely a virtual real estate investor, which is unheard of. How do you incorporate virtual into your real estate?
Right. So there's really not much difference. When people hear virtual, they think it's something that it's really not. Essentially, doing anything virtually is simply replacing the people that you would have locally here on the ground, right? So any real estate investor buying and holding, or let's talk wholesaling, right? You're going to have someone who's going to cold call or send out text blasts, right? My guy just happens to be in Dhaka, Bangladesh, right? I don't even know how many miles away that is. And we have virtual assistants that do that. My acquisition manager is in Atlanta, Georgia, right? My disposition manager is in Maryland, right? So the same concept as if you would have like an office, if you're doing it locally in your own market, it's the same concept. The only difference is everything is done either over text, email, or over the phone. So it's the same concept. Yep.
That's powerful. We're going to take a question from the audience. Miss Erica, our VIP sponsor, asks, do you include holding costs in your profit estimate?
Sure. So holding costs is usually referencing a flip transaction where you may have hard money costs. You have to factor in taxes, insurance, and stuff like that. I don't do a ton of flipping. So if it's wholesale related, like this particular case, there's some slight costs, not really much there because I actually bought it on the first and I'm selling it on this Friday. But our typical deals are assignments, and there are really no holding costs with that. As long as we get the contract sold, but before its expiration time, there's really nothing to hold. But I think your question is more geared towards like flipping, when you actually take possession and you're rehabbing the property and stuff like that. But if that is something that you're interested in doing, holding costs 100%, 1000% have to be factored in to your overall numbers. Great question.
Absolutely. Are you taking investors right now?
So typically how I work with investors, like if someone wanted to come into the Milwaukee market and leverage my team, they would kind of work on my turnkey side or my learnkey side, where if I present you with a deal that you like, if you wanted to buy and hold, then you could essentially purchase from me. But not only are you getting an awesome deal, you'll be getting the team that I also use to manage my properties, my realtors to lease up my properties, the title company I use, the insurance company that I use. So it's really like you're leveraging me as an operator. Another way that I work with investors is for like short-term financing. Like hard money, private money, and stuff like that. But I don't partner with anyone per se, like in the same LLC and stuff like that. That's not a part of my business model. But one of those two ways is how we can work together as an investor.
Super powerful, super powerful. Miss Shanique Henry, another VIP sponsor. Thank you, Miss Shanique. We appreciate you. How long are most of your contracts?
Great question, right? So right now the market is hot, right? So as soon as we can get title completed, typically the contracts are being sold. But on average, 30 days, right? Our contracts are 30 days cash as is. We have thrown out some 21-day contracts if the seller is asking us for a quicker closing, or if they're facing foreclosure where we have to get things off the books a lot quicker. We can do a 21-day, but we have to give at least 2 weeks for title to clear. If there are any liens, judgments, we got to get those corrected. So 30-day contracts are typical.
Oh, but great question. Great question, Mr. Nick. That's powerful. That's powerful. That is really well done. Miss Erica is back on fire. Real estate agents sometimes give wholesalers a hard time. What is the difference between the agent and a wholesaler?
Awesome question. We talk about this in Clubhouse all the time. So as an agent, you have a fiduciary duty, right, to disclose information, right? Whereas a wholesaler, you're not required to disclose everything because you're really approaching the seller as an investor. So now if you're an agent who also wants to wholesale, it can become a little tricky because you have to disclose not only who you are, but also let the seller know that you're not engaging with them in a representation sort of relationship. You're really just coming to them as an investor. So I would say the biggest difference is disclosure between a wholesaler and an agent.
Great question.
Awesome.
And Miss Erica, appreciate you. You guys are diving in. What is the best way for my audience to connect with you, grow with you, and get on board with what you're doing?
Absolutely. Well, you could definitely follow me on Instagram. In the link that you had up earlier, King, there's a link in my bio on Instagram that connects to everything that is that I do. You can get added to my calendar. You can schedule a 15 to 30 minute call for free with me to kind of go over any questions that you may have. Definitely enrolling into the online platform on the free side. Doesn't have to be the pay side, but there's a lot of content in there on the free side that I offer as well. For example, if there are any new wholesalers tapping in right now, what they can do, I uploaded an awesome video on how we use PropStream for lead generation and how we integrate that into Mojo for our virtual assistants. And whoever is not familiar with what Mojo essentially is a dialer that we use to dial motivated sellers. So please tap in with that video.
So they can book the consultation on the link below, and you can check them out on Instagram. Absolutely. And is there anywhere else? What are some last encouraging words that someone may be on the fence about getting into real estate or wholesaling their first deal? What's some last nuggets? We had one more in the bag.
So it can be done, right? Clearly, you're looking at someone who not only does it, but does it 700 miles away. Okay, so I just want to make that point very clear. What you need simply is to become educated. And there's a lot of stuff on YouTube University, right? Bigger pockets, right? I'm not saying everyone has to come to me. I just want people to learn and get educated, right? Bigger Pockets was a big help for me. I listened to a guy called Jay Massey, who's all about cash flow when I got started. But you got to take action, right? It's bigger than coming in, every day listening to King's podcast and just, you love to see his face. We all do. We all love to see his face, but you gotta take action. You gotta take action. And one great way that you guys can take action, like I said earlier on the free side, just enroll in I Kept It Real Estate U, and then understand that lead generation component. Because one thing I learned, I used to be an agent here in New York, and one of my brokers told me, if you list, you last. So essentially, if you're the person that can find motivated sellers, you'll be unstoppable. And that's just one key skill that you need to learn.
Powerful. This is incredible. Mr. Shawn, brother. You are on fire. Oh my God. Oh my gosh. We got one more question from Miss Erica. She wants to know what happens when the sailor did a reverse mortgage.
A reverse mortgage. Oddly enough, I've never come across a seller who has had a reverse mortgage. I have come across sellers who were looking to sell, but they had a mortgage on the property. So essentially, I bought the property subject to the existing mortgage. That's a part of creative financing series that I also do. So the reverse mortgage, I'm not super familiar with that, but I have purchased properties with existing mortgages still in place.
Super dope. I hope. Well, I gotta let Mr. Shawn go, y'all. This man got business to take care of. But Mr. Shawn, I want to thank you, sir, from the bottom of my heart, sincerely, for taking time out of your busy schedule to give back in this way. This is powerful. This is impactful, and I hope this served you all, my audience. Mr. Shawn, I hope to have you on the show soon again for part 3. Looking for part 3.
Let's go 3 for 3. Let's go. Yes,
thank
sir.
you all.
I'm here whenever you're ready, King.
Absolutely. And thank you all, my audience, for tuning in to Gentleman Style Podcast Show. I hope this message was impactful. I hope it was helpful. And I hope it has served you in the best way possible. Tune in for more action on future episodes, upcoming episodes this week on Gentleman Style Podcast Show. And I thank you all. Like I always say, take care of your friends, take care of your family, and take care of business. This is Marcus Norman, Gentleman Style Podcast, and Mr. Shawn Ackerman from I Kept It Real Real Estate signing off. Love you guys. Bye.